Mr. Musca, as always, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. So one of the challenges for European banks is, one, explaining their business model clearly, and two, generating revenue growth. How will you generate revenue growth?
Well, we have a very customer-centered model, and we are delivering precisely an increase in revenue growth. First of all, by increasing our customer base. In the medium-term plan we have presented yesterday, we are forecasted an increase by 1 million of added customers in Italy and France before the end of the next medium-term plan, ending in 2022. We will also increase synergy, and here the objective is to reach 10 billion revenue synergies during the course of this medium-term plan, which means that we are quite sure that we will be able to reach this level, thanks to the fact that those revenues will be made on our actual customers. So we are very confident on that.
Mr. Musca, you're also targeting a CET1 ratio in the future that actually is significantly below where it is now. Can you talk to us a little bit about the regulatory pressure surrounding that?
Well, in our case, you shouldn't look at the core equity tier 1 ratio of CASA in the same way as you're looking at the core equity tier 1 ratio, CASA, which is the listed entity, to the same way you're looking at the core equity tier 1 ratio of some of our big competitors. Because as far as we're concerned, we are part of a group, and it is the group, the whole group, which is a global SIFI. And at the level of the whole group, we are now above 15%, and we commit to be above 60% at the end of the medium-term plan. So what we do in this context is that we try to optimize on the listed entity, which is, I repeat, not a global SIFI, the amount of capital, and we target 11%, just like we did during the previous medium-term plan. That was a success, and which was delivered 1 year ahead of schedule this year precisely.
Mr. Musca, good morning. It is an honor to have you on the program, particularly with your public service to France. I've got a bunch of questions, and they really go back to the heritage of Credit Agricole. Credit Agricole is one of the great agricultural banks of the world. Is there any understanding that if we have a trade war between Europe and the United States, that agriculture in France will relent in somehow bringing the tariffs and the blockading of product down? Do you have any optimism that agriculture Europe can be part of these trade negotiations?
Well, I understand that for the time being, the position which has been adopted unanimously by the European is to exclude agricultural products from the trade negotiation. And, well, basically, I think that considering the strong consensus there is on that, I don't see too much risk. But indeed, we are in a very uncertain environment.
Yes.
We are weighing all the risk, and that's why, for example, the plan we delivered is seen by a lot of observers as cautious and conservative. But it is on purpose, I have to say.
Mr. Musca, with your service to the French government, I would suggest maybe no one knows Benoit Cœuré better than you. I need you to sell Benoit Cœuré to the ECB this morning. Why would Benoit Cœuré be a wonderful replacement for Mario Draghi?
Well, your question is slightly embarrassing for me because I'm a friend of Benoit Cœuré. I have full confidence in his capacity, in his ability to be a central banker at the highest level. It's not up to me, indeed, to choose the next president of ECB. So I won't go further.
Well, I know it's a delicate task, but let's go further, if you will. It's Friday in America, so we'll try this. If Benoit Cœuré was to bring a French perspective to the ECB, we saw that, of course, with Mr. Trichet, how would that change the dynamics between the core of the European Central Bank and the peripheral nations?
I don't think that, there will be major changes in the ECB policy depending on the new president. I think that the ECB policy is driven by the directorate, and it's a very collective, as far as I understand it, approach of economy and interest rates. So I don't want to speculate on the fact that the change in the presidency will lead to any significant change in monetary policy. That's not my impression. And in any case, I think that the current members of the directorate are fully aligned.
Yeah, Mr. Muscat, let me save you from questions. Also, maybe some of our international viewers forget that there are two actually contenders from the French side, including Mr. Villeroy de Gallo. Okay, talk to me about dividends, Mr. Muscat. Let's go back to Credit Agricole. Do you see any room to boost the dividend after keeping targets unchanged?
We are confident that we can improve the dividend. We start from a level of a net income at 4.4 billion euro, and we target 5 billion at the end of this medium-term plan. So for sure, we will do our utmost to deliver this result and therefore to improve the dividend for our shareholders.